The Real Deal Show. Brought to you by eBodyboarding.com and Tribe Boards. All right. So you guys okay? You think that's going to be enough? You got to talk into that mic.
I'll just turn around and talk like this.
Oh, is this a mic?
Yeah.
It is a mic.
Oh, okay.
What did you think?
I don't
of
know.
it?
Like a signal thing?
So you guys just pass that around, okay?
Okay.
You don't have to talk right into it like that, but like about here. That's 6 inches away. You guys ready?
And you guys talk soft, so make sure.
You make sure
don't
we're all
mumble.
framed, okay?
I want to watch Dad now. Okay, Dad, I'll do this.
Yeah,
and I'll
here we
put
go.
full effort into it if you buy me my pants. I will put my 100% effort.
This has gone in the blooper reel for sure.
100% effort if you buy
How
me my
about
pants.
I keep a roof over your head and food in your stomach? How about that?
100% effort if you buy me
All
my
right,
pants.
shove it.
Kieran, you'll do 100% effort because we asked you to.
Here we go. You ready? All right, here we go. Everybody be quiet.
And
I'm
you're in
gonna
the
start.
carrot today.
I'm gonna start. You ready? Here we go. Hey everybody, Jay Reale back at you with the Real Deal Show, and this is kind of an interesting episode here because I have my family with me, my entire family, immediate family here, and my son Kieran is here on my left, has never been on the podcast, and certainly does not want to be on the podcast.
He's forcing us all to be on the podcast.
This is Vicki, who of course you've seen on the podcast several times. And then my beautiful daughter, Saige, who has also never been on the podcast, but has a very broad presence on social media.
She's had
And we'll
some
talk about
cameo appearances. I
Has
think.
she? On the podcast?
Remember
On
you
the
did
vlog?
that South Park?
Not on the podcast.
South
Oh, okay.
South Park? Oh, no. Yeah,
The
that's not my
impression.
podcast, not
The
the Real
impression.
Deal Show.
Yeah.
That's on the Keeping It Real vlog. So let me tell you a little bit about my kids. Kieran, how old are you?
17.
Good job, Kieran.
Hey, he's on.
First question in the back.
He's really concerned that his buddies are going to rip him to shreds for everything he says on this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Typical teenager.
What will they do?
I don't know. Make fun of me.
Very elaborate answer there. And Saige, are you excited to be here on the Real Deal Show?
I'm so excited.
That's a-
I love the clout.
Okay. So if you're looking at this background, it's an absolutely gorgeous background. We are in Costa Rica on one of our family surf trips. And I thought the topic of today's discussion would be traveling as a family of surfers and bodyboarders and some of the challenges of doing that and some of the joys of doing that. And there's been a lot of it in the last few years. We've really kind of ramped up the family travels. And why have we done that, Vicki?
Because our kids are super spoiled. No, they're lucky. Because traveling makes you richer.
Bumper sticker, T-shirt.
No, we want to give this experience to our kids, and we're fortunate enough to be able to give our kids these experiences of traveling, and hopefully they appreciate it, right? You guys appreciate
Do you appreciate it?
Yeah, obviously.
I know Saige does, but
Yeah.
maybe she's older, so that's probably why. But Kieran will probably look back at his childhood and go, man, did I have some sick adventures.
Honestly, I think that.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, so in recent years, our kids are getting older. Kieran is 17, Saige is 21. And, how much longer will we be able to do family surf trips? So we thought we would just use all their inheritance and go on surf trips so that they get nothing when we die. And that's probably going to be true if we keep traveling like this. So, so let's talk about some of the trips we've been on. Any specific trips that you can remember that were memorable in terms of difficulties, let's talk about during travel. Do you remember, Kieran, any of the trips where we've had troubles getting to our destination?
Yeah, when we went to Australia, our flight got, turned around midair because, what was it? There wasn't enough fuel, or
No, there was
the
a-
door opened or
Right.
something.
There was a light saying that the cargo door was not shut all the way or something, right?
Yeah.
And what did we have to do?
Turn around, get a hotel, and leave the next day.
And you've always been freaked out about airplanes, haven't you?
Not really.
Oh.
Do you get nervous when there's turbulence?
Not really.
Oh, I thought you did.
Okay.
Well, on this trip, we were coming to Costa Rica, and we had to take a mini plane to this spot where we are now. It was like the smallest plane we've ever been on, and Kieran was sitting next to me, telling me how scary this
Yeah,
flight was
ripping
going to
on
be.
me.
And then when we took off, there was some turbulence, and his palms were very sweaty, and he decided to wipe them all over me. So I don't know if that's true that you're not afraid
Yeah, that
of planes.
was a little airplane, though. That thing was like tiny.
Okay. So, yeah, that was a 12-seater turbo, twin prop plane. So we made it, no problem, good weather. And here we are. We've been here for about 12 days, 10 days so far, and just trying to escape winter in North America. But yeah.
Let's talk about how the kids are able to come with us in the middle of January for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so Saige, we'll start with you. You're here, but you're in school and you work as well. So how do you pull that off?
Yes, so I found a really good deal that I have going on. I work at Starbucks, and Starbucks pays tuition for people that work a certain amount of hours per week. They pay tuition to go to Arizona State University online. So I do online college, and that allows me to travel, not too much, but just enough, you know. I'm very thankful to be able to do that, and I still have to be home sometimes working, and it's definitely a grind, but I'm very thankful for this opportunity that Starbucks has given me. Who knew? And who knew I'd ever work at Starbucks and be a barista, but it's just a fun job to get me through college, so yeah.
And we don't have to pay.
And we should mention, though, that her home is on Oahu.
Yes, I live there in Honolulu with 3 of my friends. We live in a little place, and we surf all day. We major in surfing and minor in school.
You want to shout out to your friends, to your roommates?
Yeah, Talia, McKenna, Kelsey. Shout out to them.
Is that what the young people do now?
My honey girls.
But also, you didn't mention that health insurance is $5 a month.
Yes.
So that's a bonus, and she also gets a 401k. So
So
she's
this
got a few thousand in her bank account. What college kid can say that? You know.
Yeah, this podcast is sponsored by Starbucks.
Thank you.
Thank you
Took the
for
words out of my mouth.
sponsoring. No, yeah, it's good. So if you have any kids and you don't want to pay for their college, make them work at Starbucks, and then they'll get it for free.
There
Yay!
you go. Slinging coffee.
Starbucks.
Slinging Joe. So, Kieran, you knew this was coming. Now, 2 years ago, we started the Keeping It Real vlog, and we touched on your situation, how you were in public school, and we wanted to travel more, but it was a problem with the school district. They didn't take too kindly to you being gone all the time. We'd get nasty letters. So what did we do?
Took me out of public school and put me in a private school called Tesla Academy. And what I do is I go into school from like 8 to 12, and I get as much work as I can done, and then I can work as far as I want and take breaks.
Yeah, so it's basically it's online school, just like Saige is doing, but they kind of keep you on track and help you and your other fellow students out, right?
Yeah.
How's that been working out for you?
Great.
Okay, let's talk about some of the travel challenges that you've had. Any trips that come to mind? Obviously, you already talked about our trip to Australia and Indonesia where we got turned around. Let's talk about some of the cool parts, actually, of travel. What's your favorite place to go?
Tavarua, Fiji.
And why?
That was quick.
Talk about why.
There's just so much to do. You're never bored. There's perfect waves, really good food, and if you're on the island, you can play pickleball, pool, ping pong. You can skate. It's just, you're never bored. There's always something to do.
What's your favorite surf spot there?
Cloud break.
For sure, Cloud Break. Okay. So now I should point out Kieran's 17. When he was 14, he wouldn't surf a wave over 1 to 2 feet. And now he's, pulling into barrels at not big Cloud Break, but decent sized cloud break, and you're looking forward to getting back there again. Yeah.
Yep.
How do you like the food in Tavarua?
It's perfect.
Because it's all you can eat.
Yeah.
And tons of it. Saige, of all the trips we've done recently, what's your favorite?
Well, I want to say Tavarua too, for like the same reasons, but I don't know if I should spice it up.
Yeah, spice it up.
Well,
What's
no,
another
let's be
destination?
honest.
Okay, I'll be honest. It's Tavarua. I don't know. We've been going there for so long now that I feel like the people there, the staff that work on the island, are like our friends. You know, we have them all on social media. We're staying in contact with them throughout the whole year. It's like super fun to feel like connected to someone that's from such a different culture than you. It's cool to like learn about their everyday life and then go see them. And so I love that about Tavarua. And obviously the food, so good. You're never hungry there. It kind of sucks because you're just like, oh, I have to eat again, really?
I know, so true.
And
And
do
then-
dishes and make the
Yeah,
beds.
exactly. It's just like a unplug from reality for a little and get to go just surf all day. That's like your whole life. That's your only worry is like, oh no, the wind came up. That's your biggest problem. Like, it's amazing. So had some of my best sessions definitely at Tavarua. Just always good vibes there. I always look forward to it the whole year. I schedule my whole year around that. I'm like, okay, it's December. That means I only have 3 more months until Tavarua. Like, I can get through these 3 months and then I'll go to Tavarua.
Well, what's your favorite spot in Tavarua?
I really like probably swimming pools. I longboard, so I love rights, so I love swimming pools. But I've had probably my best session at Tavarua at Namotu Lefts. It's just a really fun wave. When it gets big, it's just like a soft wave, so you can still pull into some bigger waves, but like it's soft, so it's nothing to be scared about, and it's perfect for a little longboard session. Super fun, but I feel like ultimately it's always the people that make it super fun. I've had some really fun days out there with my friends and friends that you make on the trip, and it's just like super fun seeing everyone have fun and catching waves and party waves and just good time.
Vicki, talk about what Saige, expound on what Saige said about the staff, how they make you feel like you're home, like your family.
Yeah, they've got hospitality down there. I don't know if they do some kind of training, but you arrive on the island and they almost know everyone that's on your trip that's there, and they welcome you with open arms and treat you like you're their family member. And, you know, whatever you want, they're kind of there at your beck and call. So they spoil us rotten. Whatever we want, whenever we want, and just full of love and happiness. And their personalities and smiles are just, you know, just awesome. But what I was going to touch on when Saige was talking about Tavarua is how we've only got concerns about if the wind's going to change. But it's kind of escapism when you're on Tavarua, right? I remember when we were there in 2020 and we were, you know, it was our last couple of days and we called back home and people are like, don't come home, there's no toilet paper. And we're like, what? And they're like, the schools are closed. And so we are so far from reality that we didn't really know what was going on back in America. And when they said there was no toilet paper, we're like, what's going on? And that's when COVID hit, and we were like, oh my goodness, well, let's just try and stay and not go home to that mayhem. And fortunately enough, we did do that. We left Tavarua, but we got to see some other parts of Fiji for a week while COVID and no toilet paper was happening in California. So that's what I love about our trips, is the escapism from reality. Not that our reality in San Clemente is horrible, and, you know, we live in a great place and have a house and a business and we're super lucky, but to travel to Fiji and all these places that we go, we're so fortunate to, you know, experience the different cultures and food and meet the wonderful people that we meet. And so, yeah.
So COVID, you mentioned COVID. We were there during COVID. We were the second to last group on Tavarua before they closed the resort down and then closed Fiji down. We barely got out of the country before getting stuck there for 18 months, which maybe wouldn't have been a bad
Yeah,
thing, but we
right.
would have gone broke for sure. But let's talk about COVID, man. We really took advantage of that period in that travel was cheap. So, Kieran, let's go back to you here. During COVID, you remember some of the trips we took? This was, I mean, we're going back 5 years now. Do you remember where we went during COVID? Any one specific trip that you think about?
Not really. I mean,
Puerto Rico, the
Puerto
RV
Rico.
trip.
Puerto Rico. Where did we go in Puerto Rico?
We stayed in a house at Dogman's in Rincon on the beach.
Oh yeah, I remember. I had a super sick barrel, and you missed it on the GoPro because you were GoProing some other kid.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
I had a super sick wave.
You were bodyboarding
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Dang it. Always your waves get missed. Talk about that. Your waves, every time we have videographers, your waves get missed,
Yep.
right?
Every time.
Thank you for the details. What about the RV trip, Saige? Tell us about that one.
We went to Florida and we rented an RV and we went down the coast
Yeah.
of Florida
Yeah.
all the way to the Key West, like the southernmost point. And it was so cool. We got to sit in our RV and do Zoom classes in high school over Zoom. And I remember like we were in the Key West and I had my Zoom call up and the background was just the beautiful ocean. And people were kind of like double taking my Zoom camera. I could see they were like, dang, where is she? I was like, yeah, I'm in Florida taking advantage. And then another trip I can remember is we went to Costa Rica with like a bunch of our friends, and we call it COVID Rica now because half of us got COVID somehow while we were there. And that was still when we had to, before we got back to America, we had to take a COVID test to make sure we didn't have COVID, and we were taking them before we left on our flights, and half of us had tested positive. So some people had to stay in Costa Rica for like 2 weeks during COVID, so that was pretty crazy, but we still had a good time.
Yeah. Well, that one, yeah. So one of our group, we had 18 people. We had a big house we were renting on the beach in Playa Grande, and one of the, I didn't want to point out names
sorry,
here,
Jack.
but we won't say his last name, but he was on the volleyball team in the high school, and he picked it up probably from the team, brought it down there, and then, people contracted COVID. But you took the test 2 days before departure, and it was inconclusive. It showed that you might have COVID. What did we have to do?
Go to a clinic on the streets in Costa Rica, and he shoved the swab really deep up my nose. And the first time he did it, it didn't work, so he had to do it again.
So you were freaked out because you didn't want to do the swab test. You were kind of a young fella, and you were really scared about it. And we told you, well, look, either you do the test or you're stuck here for 2 weeks. And at that point, I don't think you really understood the gravity of the situation. But eventually you caved in, and the test was negative. So our family was able to leave unscathed on that one. But that period, we went to Puerto Rico. We went to we did the RV trip in Florida, which was cool. We rode an airboat in the Everglades.
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about that trip, Vic?
Yeah, it was empty. A lot of places we went because it was COVID. So hopefully there's no haters out there that are hating on us because we traveled during COVID. But we took advantage, and we felt like, we wore masks when we had to wear masks. Actually, we had to wear masks on airplane that year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But we got to go to Key West when it was uncrowded, which was awesome. And the things I remember also is LAX. Do you guys remember we would depart LAX and there was no cars going around the loop? It was it was bizarre, just empty, like no one traveling. And not only did we travel many places, but the air tickets were so cheap. I remember we went to Texas, and Texas was $50 round trip. We went to Waco, right?
Yeah, it was our first Texas tube tour.
Oh,
it was,
okay,
it was
yeah.
the summer of 2020.
$50 round trip. I think Puerto Rico was $200 round trip.
Uh-huh.
And then, the motorhome in Key West wasn't so bad either. But, yeah, it was the best times. I hate to say it. 'Cause
to travel.
best time to travel was that year.
Well, we went to La Saladita as well in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
That was a cool trip that year. It was just cheap to travel, and the thing I remember most is maybe the airports weren't that crowded, but when you get on the planes, because there were so few flights, the flights were packed.
Yeah,
right?
it was. Yeah, so we weren't the only ones traveling. But
Yeah, well, there's just less options for
Yeah,
people
I
that,
guess so.
in some cases, had to travel. They just crammed them on the planes. No social distancing on the airplane,
Yeah.
right? At that time, when social distancing was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we were able to take our masks off and eat, but then we had to put them back on.
Oh my gosh, the weirdest
But
times ever.
Texas was open. Remember?
Yeah.
We would go into restaurants and not have to wear masks there,
And yeah, the cool thing about the Texas thing was, we had been as a family to Waco a couple times before COVID, and we were like, this is a great place to bring a group. And during COVID, people were hungry to get away. They were cooped up for a long time. They wanted to get out and about. And we said, let's do this trip. And we put it out there. We paid our deposit. And we were really nervous that no one's going to sign up. They're all too afraid. And what happened?
we filled it straight away. We did. Remember, we had some haters
Like in
too.
48 hours.
What are you guys thinking? Why are you traveling? You should be staying at home. We had that too. But yeah, everyone was like, let's go. They
Yeah.
were.
Fortune favors the bold, as they say at that time. So that was a fun trip. It kicked off our Texas Tube Tour. We're now heading into our 9th Texas Tube Tour next September. By the way, we love to invite people on our trips with us. So we
come
do
along
trips.
with us.
Talk about the trips that we do, Vic.
I think, not everyone knows, but we are here in beautiful Costa Rica. We do that trip through bodyboarding holidays, bodyboard holidays. And straight after here, we go to El Salvador. But some of the trips that we do, and we bring our lovely kids, is the Fiji trip and the Texas trip. And
So this is Tavi Tube Tour,
the Tavi Tube Tour.
Texas
Surf
Tube Tour.
Ranch.
It's all about branding. Texas Tube Tour and Surf Ranch Roundup. And if you want to sign up for any of these trips, where do you go?
eBodyboarding.com. Hit
/travel.
/travel.
You go to the bottom of the site, click Bodyboarding Travel. Click Bodyboarding Travel, and
Make that happen,
all the
Saige.
trips are listed on there. Now, we went on a new trip this year. Tell us about the trip we went on in November to Indonesia.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What'd you think of it?
It was awesome.
Okay, where did we go?
Mental wise,
What was the name of the place we stayed?
Kandui Resort.
Okay, I got to feed him all these questions. Saige, talk about that Kandui trip.
Well, this kind of plays into the traveling challenges. Is we went to Kandui. We luckily stopped in Australia first to visit our lovely family there, and that was super fun, and also a great way to break up the trip. But traveling to Kandui was kind of a mission. We had to take a flight from Sydney to Jakarta, which was like an 8-hour red-eye flight. Red-eyes are no fun, but then we landed and we had to, it was nighttime because of the crazy difference, so we had to spend the night in Jakarta, which is also, I didn't know, known as the worst city in the world just because it's so crowded. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah. And then
Voted by whom?
and then we woke up and took another flight to Padang, and then we had to stay in a hotel overnight in Padang, and then we had to catch a ferry to the Mentawai Islands, Kandui Resort. And it was fine, we got a little break at the hotel rooms overnight, so we were well rested, but then we got on the ferry, and I was like, oh my gosh. The ferry ride was like 4 hours. There was no Wi-Fi. Oh my gosh.
No.
There's no Wi-Fi.
The horror.
I couldn't use my TikTok or Snapchat, as Dad would say. Your Snapchat.
Snap Talk or whatever they're calling it these days.
Yeah, boomer right there.
Yeah, I'm a boomer.
But yeah, so it was, I don't know. I mean, obviously that's like a spoiled thing to say. Like, oh my gosh, a 4-hour ferry ride. But we were just like so zonked after that whole travel trip. And I was like, is this going to be even worth it? Like, it better be worth it. And then, you know, you get on Kandui and you're like, okay, yeah, this is definitely worth it. It was super cool there. And I had never really thought too much about that side of the world. I've never really been to like that area, you know, like the
Indian Ocean.
Yeah. And so it was just like such a cool experience and very cool culture that I never knew anything about. And it's just crazy that people live like that in Indonesia, like so like
Humble.
and like very, yeah, just simple. And, you know, they live in like villages with like handmade irrigation ditches and stuff like that. And then we're here in California with like our cyber trucks. And I'm just like, do you think they know what a cyber truck is? Like, it's just so cool how they just live so differently, but they're so content with it.
Yeah, remember we went to that one house and the mom was holding her baby and she had her stove was
Like a charcoal. She had to like hand start her stove.
Yeah,
Like
it was a bunch of wood.
light the fire.
And she had a pot boiling water, and it looked like she had a goldfish she was just about to cook. I know it wasn't a goldfish. But the ironic thing is that I noted is I have a Whirlpool oven at home, and I'm able to preheat it on my app on my phone from work before I get home. So how's that for a contrast? Here I am, and I complain sometimes when my app's disabled or the oven's disabled for remote start. How spoiled we are. So I love that the kids get to see that you know, here's this lady, you know, lighting her oven with wood and, you know, boiling a goldfish.
Yeah.
And I'm complaining that I can't start my oven from work.
Yeah.
So lucky.
I think that's, you know, part of the benefit of travel is you learn a lot about different cultures and ways of life. It puts your life more in perspective, hopefully. And I think that's why people say, you know, travel is so enriching. Tell me something that you learned in Indonesia that you didn't know before.
You're doing great, by
I
the
gotta
way.
think. I can't just think. Ask someone else.
Okay, think about that one. So Indo was a sort of a dream destination for me. I turned 60 in 2024, and I wanted to go there as a 60th birthday. And your wonderful mother, Carol, joined us on the trip and helped us out immensely to get that done.
Pull that off, yeah.
To pull it off and do it as a family. And thanks to you, Carol. We really appreciate that. But Vicki and I were there in the late 90s, and we were on a boat trip. So this time we wanted to go to Kandui Resort, which we had heard a lot of good things about. So we booked it many months in advance, and there was a lot going on there because I had broken my collarbone and you had hurt your back, and we were concerned we might have to cancel the trip, right?
Yeah, it was such a long way. We were at the point where we were like, if we can't surf, let's cancel it. Your collarbone, my back. But fortunately, we toughened through it and pulled it off, and it was amazing. I mean, this area has, I think, what they say, 27 breaks?
No, 37.
37 breaks, like, out in the area where we stayed, and you could get a boat anytime, you know, even if you were alone, and they would take you to the spot you wanted to go, and just didn't matter if you wanted lefts, rights, wedges for bodyboarding, longboarding, shortboarding. It's pretty dreamy.
And we were there during shoulder season, so it was, you know, the crowds were down, the waves are a little smaller, a little more manageable, a little less threatening. Your favorite spot, Saige, in the Ments at Kandui, what spot did you enjoy? And I think I know the answer, but go ahead.
Burger World.
Oh, I was going to say Pistols.
Burger World.
Oh, yeah, I did have a lot of fun at Pistols, but Pistols is definitely a faster wave, more advanced than I like to surf, but I definitely surfed there a lot and learned a lot there. But yeah, Burger World, super fun, right? And just, yeah, always fun days there, like a mushy wave, and just really fun to ride on a shortboard and a longboard. We luckily, because it was shoulder season, we got it with like minimal crowds, so that's always nice, especially for my dad here. He hates crowds. He is just the king of paddling away.
Crowds?
Yeah. He's the king of paddling away from every crowd and trying to find little inside secret Jay's wave, Jay's peak,
Jay's
as
peak.
Mom calls it.
Yeah, everywhere we go, there's a Jay's Peak because he needs a buffer zone, and if
Yeah.
that buffer gets filled with people, he heads over and finds his own peak.
Yep.
Wherever we
Yes.
go in the world, there's a Jay's Peak.
Kieran, your favorite wave in men's?
Probably Last Resort, because Canoe Left wasn't breaking, and the only lefto we really surfed that had a barrel was Last Resort. So
Kieran, you're very specific to your type of waves that you like. What type of wave is that?
any wave that has a left barrel.
We need to go to G-Land.
Yeah.
That should be on the list,
So-
right?
Yeah.
I will say that Kieran and I are a lot alike in that we're too spoiled that if the waves aren't good enough, then we won't paddle out. I mean, we will, but we're more picky, wouldn't you say, than
Well-
you and Saige?
Well, Kieran, okay, so let's touch on this subject. We'll segue into this, and that is that Kieran is a one board guy. He rides a short board, Lost Mayhem, which model?
The Stub Driver 2.0.
And that's it. Doesn't want to ride a mid-length, won't ride a longboard. He's given up bodyboarding. So if the waves aren't suitable for the type of board he likes to ride, it's not as fun for him. Whereas Saige here, she rides shortboard, and she'll ride a mid-length and a longboard. So she can kind of adapt based on the type of waves. I mean, is there a specific type of wave you prefer?
I mean, I love longboarding over everything. I've been trying to get better at the shorter boards, but it's just so awkward. I don't know, like going from a longboard to a shortboard. But yeah, longboard, I love rights, just like a long peeling, like, like waist
Burger
high
World.
wave. Yeah, exactly. So fun. And Kieran makes fun of me for it. He's like, no, you don't do anything on a longboard. You just stand there and like walk around.
You just stand there. It's so boring. You're just standing there.
Yeah, on a shortboard, all you do is turn.
No, you can
That's
pull in
true.
barrels, turn.
Oh, this is
airs.
getting good.
No, you can't do an air though.
Yeah, I can. Mom videoed me doing one yesterday.
But you can't do barrel rolls and 360s and...
So you can't do it on a longboard.
So our kids have eschewed bodyboarding completely. Almost never see them on bodyboards, but they grew up riding them. So
Yeah, well,
is that why? Because you're tired of it now? You moved on, kind of thing.
no, it's just, I don't know, surfing, I don't know. I just think it's more fun. Like, I feel like if I was good on a bodyboard, it would be fun, but for me, all I can do on a bodyboard is kind of lay down and, like, turn stuff. So I did, actually, this year at Tavarua, when restaurants was really big and everywhere else was really big, I wasn't trying to go on a surfboard. It's too gnarly for me, so I decided, let me go out on a bodyboard. Like, I bet you, I was like, my ego was big. I was like, I can take some big waves at restaurants, like, on a bodyboard, easy. Oh gosh, no, I got destroyed.
I missed that.
Yeah, I went out this year and I mean, I caught a wave, but like I got definitely destroyed. I thought, this is a sick left barrel at restaurants. Like I can just easily pull in on a bodyboard. No, but there you go.
Wow.
Just-
Now, Vicki, you're also a multi-boarder.
Yeah, I bodyboard and a mid-length and I'll longboard if it's really small. And I have a surf mat. That's fun when there's a long point break. So, yeah, it's good having a quiver. You can pick what your vehicle is no matter what the wave is. So, it's not fun to travel with all those items.
Yeah.
But, it definitely enhances your experience everywhere we go,
Yeah, so on this trip, there's 4 of us. We have 5 surfboards and 3 bodyboards. I'm riding my Tribe Real Deal. Vicky's on her Tribe Bungee. Shout out to Tribe Boards, sponsor of this Real Deal show. But we also have a 6'4" shift red pill. We got a 6'10" shift red pill. I've got a 6'0" Mayhem Quiver Killer, which I love, and I've just kind of been rotating through the boards based on the quality of the surf. But yeah, it's a lot of gear to bring. And when the kids were little, man, we'd have to travel with strollers and all the baby stuff, man. Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it still is with all these bags. And there's ways kind of to like pack the bag so your boards don't get damaged, although that didn't work out so well on our Indo trip. We had 2 surfboards absolutely hammered and destroyed. But anyway, so let's get to
How we
wrap.
fight? How we fight?
Yeah,
on
that's
trips?
exactly right. How to let's get to the end of this thing because this kid's dying to get out of here.
He's
He
like,
hates
how long
us.
is this going to be?
Right.
Half hour?
So let's talk about the annoying parts of traveling with your family. What any one of us that annoys you, and what is it about us? Here's your chance to get it
I
off.
don't
Think
know.
about that.
Get it off
I'll
your
go to
chest.
Saige. I'll go to
In
Saige.
public?
Think about that. Go ahead, Saige. And
I don't
I can
know.
take
You're
it.
too sweet.
I can take it.
You're too sweet.
I
to,
know
like,
I'm the
say
hardest
anything.
one to travel with. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's pretty fine, like traveling.
No, this
with,
isn't. That's not good content. We
Pretty
need some
fine.
juicy stuff.
I'm trying to think.
Nothing hard
What's
about it.
annoying about me? Okay, specifically.
Why you eye roll all the time?
She's like,
Oh,
we need a
well,
whole nother podcast
Yeah,
just
we need
for
a whole
that.
other podcast just to rip him a new one. No, I don't know. It's Jay. Like he just has his ways, and basically he'll make you feel guilty if you don't surf if the waves are good. Which he just wants the best for us. But if we're sleeping in and it's like we sleep in until 6 a.m., he's up at like 4:30.
You've missed a half 45 minutes of daylight.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be like, "Oh, guys, like I already got in my hour session. It's so fun out there. You better get out there before the wind comes up." And then the wind comes up, and he's like, "See, I told you, ha ha ha." Whatever. But I don't know. He's just an interesting character to travel with.
Just being too
What
nice.
about me?
Yeah, let's talk
I don't
about
know.
Vicki.
I don't know. She's. I don't really. Like it's nothing bad. I can't.
See, they're
think of
afraid.
anything.
They're afraid.
No, but
We should
it's-
let them. We should go away, Vicki, and let them talk.
What'd you say?
What'd
I
you say?
can't think of anything.
Really? There's nothing wrong with me or your mother?
No,
Like
there's
nothing that annoys you about us traveling with us?
No, nothing about traveling with you guys. I mean, obviously there's stuff that annoys me, but not specifically about
Just
traveling.
parenting stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Well,
nothing that I'm like, oh God, I
what
have to travel with them and they're gonna do this.
What about when mom forces you to like go outside and adventure while we're on travels?
Oh yeah, I hate going on walks, but I mean,
And hikes and
I'm always like, Kieran, let's go for a walk. He's like,
it's yeah.
Kieran, eat a carrot. You got to get some vegetables today. Why is your protein? Typical mom stuff that he gets annoyed
That's at
with,
home
but
too. That's not just
yeah,
traveling.
That's just
Okay.
in general.
That's yeah. There's nothing specific about traveling.
So he's the okay. Yeah.
Or when
And-
dad makes us get to the airport like 4 hours early for the flights.
why do I do that?
Because we have a traumatizing experience of when we went to Fiji and we barely made it on the flight. You can never
And our
be
bags
too early.
didn't make it
Yeah.
for 2 days.
Yeah.
Had to borrow equipment. So yeah, I'm a fan of way early
Yeah.
to just keep the stress down.
So what
Vicki.
about you, Jay?
Well, what annoys me about
out of
traveling?
me and
Okay,
Kieran
so
and
I'm going to
Saige.
give you guys a tip here for those of you watching if you travel with your family. The move is try to stay right in front of where the surf is. And here's why. Because if you don't and you stay somewhere where maybe you have to get in your rent-a-car and drive to the beach as a group to go surfing, then everybody's at the mercy of the same schedule. And not everybody maybe wants to surf or get up at the crack of dawn. So there's arguments like, get up, come on, we're missing it,
We're
get out of
leaving in
bed.
10 minutes.
Right. So if you're staying, I know it's hard and sometimes pricey, but if you can at all possible, if you can stay right in front of where the surf is, then you can just come and go as you please. And that's why sometimes like Kandui was a great option for us because there were boats that were at the beck and call. You could just hop in the boat whenever you wanted, even if it was just you by yourself, and they'd take you out to the surf and back whenever you wanted, right?
Yes, and that keeps Jay happy, so it keeps us happy.
So I'm the kingpin here, I guess, is what we're getting at. What about you, Vic? What annoys you about traveling with us?
You guys are great to travel with, and we've done it forever, so we know each other's little,
Quirks.
quirks, yeah. But I guess it's just that, now Saige is 21. I try and parent her a little bit, and I can see she gets a little annoyed because she's an adult now, so that's something new that, she's my baby girl. So I'm like, you got your sunscreen on, you're wearing a rash guard, don't forget a hat. And, I'm always looking out for her, where sometimes I can see that she's just like, oh my gosh, my mom. I know she loves me and she knows I'm out there to help her, but at the same time, it annoys you, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, I live by myself usually, and I'm able to survive by myself, so I don't need your advice. Like, you do not think that I know how to put sunscreen on? I don't know. It's just dumb stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's like the teenager version of the adult life.
Wow.
And then when it comes to Jay, he's on it so much, and he's up and he's stretching and he's working out, and he's, and there's times when I feel like, he's like, I know you say that you don't feel this way, but I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Jay's thinking she's blowing it. She's still sleeping. She's not out there like I am. And then if I go out, I sometimes sit away from Jay in the lineup because I feel like he's judging me, like I'm sitting in the wrong spot, or why didn't I take that wave? And I guess it's because you're high stress, and I feel sorry. So I always say to him, I feel sorry for you that you feel like you need to be on it so much, where I just kind of take it easy. Look, he's dying to say something. I just take it easy and go with the flow, and I'm not as high strung as him. So I guess is the only thing I have to say about it. What do you want to say?
No, just in my defense, I'm a creature of discipline, a creature of habit. I tend to stick with what works and try to do that everywhere I go.
And if we don't, then you don't judge us?
No, I might in the back of my mind, but I would never say it anymore because I've been ripped for saying something. So especially in a place like this where we can just come and go as we please. So if you want to sleep in, great, sleep in. I'm going out.
But you're blowing it.
And it doesn't impact you. It's more like I want to share that fun with you guys. So when you're not out there, I'm like, gosh, my family's not out here. I can't share it with them. And so there's that part of me. And that's in all honesty. I know you may think my motives are otherwise, but that's truly the case. I want to share this thing that I love so much with my kids and my wife, and they're not out here.
He often says watching us get good waves is almost better than when you get good waves.
Absolutely.
So I know you feel that way, but I mean, even today, like Jay paddled out on a mid-length, and he told me, if any of you guys want to come out and ride the mid-length, just ride my board out and we'll swap it. And Saige took Jay's board out, and I said, swap Dad with that board so you can ride the mid-length. And she goes, I feel bad. And I'm like, no, he'll want you to have a good time, so just swap and give him the mid-length. But Saige is too sweet. She paddles out there, and I asked Jay when he got out, Saige wanted to ride that board, and he's like, I went up to her and I said, here, do you want to swap? And I said, that's the problem right there, Jay, is you asked her if you wanted to swap, and she's too sweet.
No. Usually I would switch, but today I just wanted to try his board, so
okay.
I honestly didn't really care that much today. I'm serious. That's my honest answer.
Okay.
Crap.
All right.
Okay. So any other things you want to touch on?
Well, just riding waves together,
Yeah.
It's fun to be out together riding waves, but my wave's my wave, and your wave's my wave. So that's
stolen from
Fiji,
stolen from Fiji.
Yeah.
Fiji night.
No, we never really get in arguments about whose wave is whose. I mean, sometimes Kieran will be a little snake.
Drop in on me.
And he drops it on me.
So I'll hit her, and then Mom will yell at me, and I'm not allowed to surf.
Yes.
Yeah, he's so mean to me out there. He takes my leash off when I'm not looking, so then I lose my board, or he'll untie my leash string. I'm like, oh my god.
What does he do when you wipe out?
Oh, he points and just laughs at me. it's very humbling.
It
He's the
forces
best
her to get
coach,
better.
you know, because I'm like, oh, I guess I got to do something different if he's laughing at me. So
Forces her to get better. Wow, so you're helping her.
So we have, I think, the typical family dynamics where the brother and sister annoy each other. Do you remember the one trip when we went to Hawaii and we're staying in Waikiki, and you guys were little, and it was one of the very first travels because I feel like you guys were under
we
10.
God.
Kieran wouldn't
Under
remember
10?
it.
Yeah,
I
I
was
doubt
very
you
young.
remember, but we stayed there, and Jay's like, all right, who wants to go to the pool? Who wants to go to the beach? And Saige is like, I want to go to the beach. And Kieran's like, I want to go to the pool. And what do you have a better memory, Jay? What happened
We
where
were
you were
just
so
arguing.
mad that you wanted to pack up and fly home?
It was the first night in the hotel. We had to stay overnight in Waikiki because we arrived very late, and the kids were bored and they were fighting because we had been on a long trip, fighting, making noise, annoying me, and I was so stressed out and fed up that I just said, I'm going to book a flight home tomorrow morning. We're out of here. Vicki, you stay. I'm taking the kids. We're home. We're gone. We're out. I can't spend a week here with this. It'll kill me.
And another one of those, how spoiled are our kids that they're fighting about, do we get to the pool? I don't want to go to the pool. I want to go to the beach. I want to go
jeez.
to the pool, you know?
Yeah, well, just to touch on something you mentioned a minute ago, or a few minutes ago, judging you when you're out in the surf.
Oh, you're going to tell that
This is
story.
another trip to Hawaii. We were out at Laniakea waist chest high day on some surfboards, and beautiful day, not crowded. And Vicki was struggling out there a little bit, and
See?
finally,
He's judging.
well, okay. So finally, a wave comes, and I'm paddling out, and I'm watching her smiling because I'm like, yeah, my wife's about to get a good wave, and she just gets catapulted with the lip and pops up, and I'm looking back as I continue to paddle out, and she says, "Don't effing look at me." So right then, I just was like, okay, that's it. I will never comment on her waves again.
But you do? No.
No,
If they're
he
good.
hasn't since
No,
then. I don't
you haven't.
think,
But
ever.
I think that's the reason I don't surf next to you, because I don't want to be judged.
Hurts me. That
I
hurts
mean, I
me.
will on a bodyboard, but it's weird on a surfboard. I don't know why. But
Huh. Well, you're confident on your bodyboard, and surfing is
what are you
kind of
laughing
newer
about,
to you.
Kieran?
Nothing.
You have something to add to this?
No. It's just Mom. I don't know.
Go ahead, say it. No repercussions.
You always say, I can't surf. It's so hard to catch waves. But I'll see you paddling for a wave, and then before you can even like catch it, you'll just stop and give
I know,
up.
I give up too early. I got to do that extra stroke or two.
All right. Any final thoughts, Saige? We're gonna wrap this up.
No, just thankful that we get to travel together and that we all love each other. Many people don't have it as good as us, and many people don't have as good relationships with their parents as us. So very
I think
thankful.
she's saying this because the
'Cause she-
gravy train's
she-
about to end.
Yeah, she's 21. She's paying for her own trips from here on
Yeah,
out. And you're not far
screwed.
behind, pal. So shout out, by the way, to Tesla Academy, of course, and to Starbucks Achievement, College Achievement
But I
Program.
love that these are going to be the best memories of our lives, traveling with our kids, and hopefully
sure.
when they're married, they're going to go, oh, look at the trips that we've done together as when we grew up. So
Well, we all know people that have had misfortune, whether it be health issues. We've had health issues like every family, and some people lost their homes in the recent fires in Southern Cal. So, yeah, we are very grateful. And the point of that is really that you don't know. You say it all the time. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, right?
Tomorrow's not
So,
promised, yeah.
oh, we have somebody asking. Hola, buenos dias.
do you want us
No,
to today?
you don't want clean
No,
today.
I think
No.
we're okay.
Muchas gracias. Sí, mañana está bien.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. There you go. Sometimes that happens
But
in
you
the
know
middle.
what we didn't touch on is how we do this and how we pull it off. And you mentioned staying on the beach can be pricey, but think about all the things that you will do back home. Like, I'm guilty of buying a latte for $6, but like we talked about booking this again next year, and we're like, well, it's a little expensive, but we have a whole year to save up. And I encourage you guys to just think about what you go out and buy a $13, $15 margarita now sometimes they're $18 in San Clemente at some of the nice places. but it's doable if you put your mind to it. And it might be more expensive to stay on the beach, but if you do those little saving tips that, just save more throughout the year, you can pull it off. And we are pretty diligent about airline miles and credit cards. So I highly recommend the Capital One credit card, because you can accumulate miles on that to travel on any airline. So if you go into Costa Rica and you want to fly Avianca, you can use your miles for that, or Valeris in Mexico, or Qantas Australia. So, look at credit cards where you can accumulate mileage. And we're fortunate enough that we have a business, so we have the Amex Platinum card, which allows us to get into lounges in a lot of the airports we travel. But picking a credit card to spend all your money on to accumulate the miles and points, that is another good tip for you to be able to pull off traveling like we do. So
in other words, look online. There's a lot of resources there. There's a website I know called The Points Guy, where you can look into what the best credit cards are for travel and how to utilize all the benefits that they have. And travel insurance is another one. You don't have to buy separate travel insurance, because the card provides that. Rent-a-car insurance is covered if you get certain cards. A lot of cards will multiply the points based on how you use them. So it's really sort of a little bit of a game to maximize all these resources that are really free in a lot of cases. And a lot of people don't take the time to learn how to use those resources. So do that, and decide, hey, is travel important to you? Well, then, as Vicki said, make some sacrifices in other parts of your life so that you can save the money and use those resources to convert that into travel. And experiences, to me, are golden, especially if you can do it with your family. And we're, as Vicki said, thankful to be able to do that. So I will put my kids' Instagrams in the comments, or I should say in the description of this video on YouTube. And Saige has a nutrition Instagram, and she has a TikTok channel, and Kieran...
Saige's Good Eats.
Say that again?
Saige's Good Eats.
Yep, and Kieran has an Instagram that he never updates anyway, but he's got a presence on... Where's your
TikTok?
gaming
No.
presence?
TikTok.
What's your TikTok account?
KREZY.
Okay, so look it up if you're into gaming. So that'll do it for this episode. There's so much more to unpack, but these guys want to get out of here, and quite frankly, it's hot. So thanks for watching this episode of The Real Deal Show. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to give us the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, our eBodyboarding channel, and enjoy all the content that we put out there. We'll be putting out a vlog of this trip sometime in the near future, and all future trips and all past trips are on there as well. And if you're listening on the audio podcast, hope you enjoyed listening while you're doing your workout or your drive or whatever the case may be. And Vicki wants to throw something in.
Well, message us if you want to join us.
Yeah, come on one of our trips with us. We'd love to have you. So that'll do it, folks. As always, we'll see you in the surf.